live.
A hamster's going round.
Well, Steve's coming in. Steve's coming.
You're live.
Is he there?
Oh,
I'm live.
We could. Oh, this is perfect timing. Right. Okay, so we're live on my channel.
Did that work?
Hey.
Yeah.
That worked.
It did, yeah, mate.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear us
my
before
Lord.
we start?
Yes, can you hear us? Is everything working? Because if it's not, it's Discord's fault.
Yeah, it's Discord. We blame Discord. It's all Discord's fault.
Tonight, genuinely, it's been Discord's problem. It's not been ours for
Nothing
once.
to do with us.
It's not-
Nothing to do with us whatsoever. Just throwing that one out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, nothing to do with us.
Right. No, I'm good. I'm good on mine.
Awesome. And apparently it sounds good. So I've got Leslie saying he's off to join Dom.
Right then. Better kick.
Apparently, apparently Ken's too loud. Apparently on my stream. There you go.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Yeah, loud and
I think
clear
it's
on
generally
mine.
too loud, but there you go.
Right. Okay. Good evening.
Good stuff.
Yes, good evening and welcome to the Plastic Crack Podcast, episode 40, the one-stop shop for your plastic crack needs. This week I am joined by Martin Seventh Son
God.
above me. To the diagonal is Dom, boots on the table. And to my right is Steve from 1 HQ. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're all okay. It's been a fun-filled week in the
Aye,
hobby,
good.
hopefully.
Evening.
And
It's
hello
been
to
great.
hello to all the viewers out there.
Yes, hello.
Hopefully everyone is okay. Fantastic. Right.
Is it me, boys, or is Ken becoming more and more like one of those, kind of game show hosts? It's just like, I expect him to have some, is Laura going to come in wearing some sparkly dress and sort of do something or other?
I actually thought he had a bit of a Graham Norton kind of on tonight's show we have.
Yeah.
It's the night show we have. Hey.
I'll get there one week. I'll just keep going and I won't shut up. That's just standard, though, isn't it? It's standard me. So yeah, we've got a few questions to get through tonight, haven't we? So got a bit going on. So what's everyone been up to? Steve, what you been doing this week, mate?
I've been doing some sci-fi stuff.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Not Germans. Oh, I've fucking shut the door.
I bet they are. I bet there's something.
No,
They're not.
they're
There
not.
must be something Germanic in them.
There is. I've used some bolt-action German parts on me. No, right. The reason is, for a couple of months I've been talking about looking for a rule set that's going to scratch my sort of sci-fi gaming itch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I found it, and it's more near future than sci-fi, and it's Zona Alpha by Osprey. So it's sort of
Okay.
set not in the not too distant future, in sort of there's been an incident, and there's this thing called the exclusion zone where all kinds of weird stuff goes on with like zombies and mutants and bandits and feral dogs, and it's a very small level skirmish game, but it's like I say near future, so there's no over the top sort of sci-fi weaponry, but it's miniature agnostic, which means anything goes. So I have kit bashed 2 factions together
Fantastic.
using bolt action Germans and Death Corps of Krieg from Forge World.
Oh my!
Um,
People are going to
but
kill
then-
you. People are going to
Yeah.
kill you for using Forge
I
World
know.
models that you can't get hold of anymore.
Can't you?
I don't think so. I think they stopped them.
and you've just in their mind mutilated.
All
them.
right. No, I've
They went for a price hike, Steve. So
well,
I think
I've
they
just
were
stuck
thousands.
bolt action arms on them. But I have chopped quite a few of them up, to be fair. But the other guys are Cadians mixed with Adeptus Mechanicus, and yeah, they've turned out quite well. I'm really looking forward to working on them. But this it's Paul from Paul's Paint Shed. He's doing Zona Alpha using a sort of World War II backstory, like alternative backstory,
I think I might have
and he's
seen
been
some
kit
actually.
bashing using. Yeah, he popped them onto my Facebook group,
That would be it. Yeah.
and he's using Winter Germans with gasks. So I picked them up. I downloaded the rules on my tablet for £7 last week, and the rules are just so good, really simple but dead intuitive, and I can't wait to play. So that's what I've been doing. My week has been kit bashing sci-fi figures. I never thought I'd hear myself saying that again.
No, Jesus.
But yeah. Oh, and I finished some bolt action British as well. Not a single German figure painted last week.
Oh my goodness me. What about
It's been a funny one.
yeah? What about you? What about you, Martin?
Apparently, Battle Knights says Steve should check out the Elskern range from Wargames Atlantic.
Oh, right, okay. I shall do that. In fact, I'm going to write that down now.
EISEKERN range. There you go. Wargames Atlantic. Don't know, but they sound
From Wargames Atlantic.
Sounds
Well, I'll have to check. I'll check them out. Awesome stuff. Cheers, mate.
fantastic. Oh, didn't want to do that. So, what about you, Martin? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I have finished one wing of musketeers for my lifeguard regiment. So that's got 16 models in it, just for the one wing. And I just said to you guys, but basically I've worked out that with my pike block and both wings of musketeers, the unit's going to be 18 inches wide.
It's going to be a fair
on the table. Yeah, so the rest of them will be standard units. I say small, but standard. It was quite big. So I finished them. I finished my goblin on a pug for Moonstone, and I'm working on. I had a sudden burst of inspiration because I've been wanting to do something else for the Wars of the Roses for a while, and I thought I don't have enough projects to try and do by Christmas Day, so I'm doing another one. So I've done a Wars of the Roses thing, which I'm actually really excited about, and I'm hoping the video will go out this week.
What a tease! What a tease!
I think it'll go out this week. Oh no, it's something that I don't know. I'm trying. It could go really wrong. It's one of those things, isn't it? If you're you might be really into a video. I'm going to put loads of passion into this, and then like 4 people watch it. You know, so and then you'll put up something else, which is just like, oh, here's an unboxing for something in the mail. It gets loads. But no, I've got a unit, so that's what I'm working on tonight. So I've started these just before we came online, and I've got a whole load of billmen and knights that I'm painting up here. And I'm hoping once these are done, it will go live this week. So that's all I've been up to. Yeah. What about
nice one,
everyone else?
Yeah. What about you, Don?
Oh, actually, can I add something?
No.
I'm
going to add it. Don't worry. I'm going to add it.
Are you going to do it? All right. Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Oh god! Oh, I know what's coming there. What have I been doing? I finished off my Normans. You may have seen on the video I did at the weekend, which has been really good. And I have to say, these Conquest Games models, I was a bit scathing when I first got them. I thought, well, not scathing. I just thought, they're a bit basic, but they paint up really nicely. Really enjoyed doing them, so I'm now working on some Norman infantry. The only frustration is that they don't have the. So go explain this to me, guys. One of the criticisms I had about the knights, the mounted knights, is that their kite shields don't have any bosses on them.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that's really weird. They've got the holes where they should be, just sort of marked out, but there's no boss. Why would you do that? I thought, oh, maybe it's something in the manufacturer, but I've just opened these Norman infantry. All the kite shields have bosses. So why did they not do them for the cavalry? It doesn't make sense, does it? So anyway, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. Plus, I'm continuing with the Latvians as well. I've done a few more support kits for them. So I've got a few more LMGs. Did a Pack 40, which I really loved. That was from Offensive Miniatures.
That looked really nice. That Dom, that did look rather good.
Really pleased with that one, Steve. I have to say, I was not in the same realm, not in the same realms as you for bases and all that kind of stuff. But I did enjoy making that base up. It was really good fun.
The base was tremendous. It really was.
It was, you know what? It was just literally. Well, it's nice of you to say, but it was just literally polyfiller built up to make a sort of snowbank where they sort of scraped a hole to dig this thing in, and it actually, the kit comes with not only the crew and the gun, but also, as you'd expect, but it also has a couple of shell cases, chests, and some individual
Oh, yeah.
shells as well. So it's just crying out to make into a little sort of diorama. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with that. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Happy days.
What about you, Ken?
Oh. Last Friday was a great day, wasn't it, Martin?
It was an amazing. I had a really good day. I had a really good day at work. I got some brilliant news at work.
I know he's got out. All right.
It was snowing, so we didn't have to actually work on that day.
And you were in Stalingrad, weren't you? You were in Stalingrad, weren't you?
Didn't we, Ken?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was actually in Stalingrad. Yeah, it was snowing, and I was inside a ruined building. Yeah.
So me and Martin had a game of Black Powder, right? So before you start shouting, "How the fuck did you have a game of Black Powder?" We played it on Tabletop Simulator. So it was actually a really good game, and we both had a really good time, didn't we, Martin?
I had a brilliant time, Ken. I had a great time.
And Saturday was going to be you were going to see it on Saturday. It was going to be amazing.
You would have got to see him fail to bring a brigade on, 3 turns running.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to got to see
he was
all
trying
that.
To be clever. Yeah. His cavalry getting completely thrown off the board because the Cumberland Hussars who ran away decided to charge some lancers who then saw them off in good order and chase them off the battlefield. You would have seen that, wouldn't you, Ken? You would have seen it.
Yeah, you would have done. You could hear it. 100% hear it. You could hear it. You could listen to a podcast version, but you're just never going to see it because I forgot to hit the bloody record button.
I doubt the veracity of this statement after the old guard made the 95th run.
I was not a happy chap.
I'm with you, Martin. I'm with you. That sounds like a tactical failure of recording. That one.
I was rather annoyed.
He was. It was annoying and amusing at the same time.
I'm not going to cause shenanigans at this point, but if it happens again, if it happens for a second time, yeah, I might cause tomfoolery at that stage.
The thing was, it was really good quality. I'd done it in 4K because it was really nice, and we'd had a good game. But
we had a good solid connection, didn't we? With no problems.
Yeah, no problems, nothing. And I thought this is going great. It's going to be great content, a Black Powder game. But no, what a surprise! No, it didn't record, so unfortunately we didn't get to see it. But we are hoping.
I did win again.
Yeah, we are going to do it again because it was.
We will.
Because me and Martin were talking about after I played Dom at Bolt Action on there, Dom. Black Powder's even easier, Dom. The blocks moving and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really easy. I made a table up for it as well, which is really annoying for nothing.
All over again.
No, you won't. No. The table and everything. But hopefully if we can, we'll try and get a game done maybe this week or something like that. Get it recorded and get it up on the channel. But yeah, that was that. But I've also, Steve, you're going to be proud of me, sir. You're going to be proud of me. I've made a base, Steve, a big base.
Oh yeah, saw that.
She's right there. So
that's a base and a half, that mate.
Yeah, it's for my colonel. So my colonel, he's glued on there now, and I've got another lancer I'm going to stick on there. So I'm going to get that finished this week, but I've finished the base pretty much, apart from like bushes and some flowers and stuff like that. I want to get on there, just try and make it a bit more of a diorama-y piece. And I've also, for my Americans, I did a video about putting transfers on, and I put all the transfers on for my Americans. I think that project's going to take a little bit of a back step this month. The only reason I'm saying that is because I've got the American characters going to be coming hopefully for Christmas, so it'd be nice to get them included into the actual whole project so I don't forget about them and they don't get done. So I'm going to try. I think I'll thingy that, but I've had a lot of French turn up is what I'm doing tonight. A hell of a lot of French. I think I counted 146 of them. Just a few.
There you go, Dom. I've got an answer for you because I've just sat here and gone through an armory website. So apparently bosses were indeed a norm on kite shields during the 11th century, but over the next 2 centuries they became more and more rare as you started to switch to having them rather than holding it with your hand, you're holding it across your forearm, so the boss doesn't become as vital. So a lot of it came to do with decoration, although for some it does still serve a function, especially for infantry, for I guess for punching people in the face. but on with Cavalry, they want to keep it on their arms so that they don't just let go of it. Apparently, according to this reenactment armory website, which I'm sure I don't want to. We were talking about reenactors. They let. I don't want to.
We're not going to upset them again, are we? No.
Not this week.
That's interesting. So actually, maybe the kit's right, and okay, that's interesting.
It's an interesting one to know, isn't it? A little bit of history behind it. That's cool. Cool to know. But we have got some questions. We have got some questions this week, haven't we, guys? From a few people. I've got one. Have you got one as well, Dom? Haven't you? Question.
Yeah, I have indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let me just say hello to a couple of people before we get going, just so we make sure we cover up everyone is here. So we've got Leslie, Paul's Paint Shed is here, Peter Little, hi, Battle Knights, hi mate. Friends of General Haig, good evening, sir. Standing to attention for you. Well, I'm not actually. Gludden, yeah, he's here. JP, hi there. Actually, get over to JP's channel. I always plug it, and I don't mean to just plug it, but I just think he does some amazing Napoleonic games. He's got a whole load of Waterloo games set up, sort of bits of Waterloo. I think he's doing Delron's attack. Delroy's attack. I slipped into the 1970s there, sorry. Delron's attack at Waterloo. I'll give up now. I'm going to shut up now.
He's got some great content over there.
Oh man, who
Love the fact that went completely over Ken's head there. That was a completely.
Yeah. Who have we got here? We've got so we've got Leslie came on here and said hello, and then of course he went over to you. Got Russian Quill, Kovac Truth, Matt Mail, hello. Imaginary Conflicts, Wayne Broadhead, hello. Osmozy, hello mate. Gran Prigo. One day I'm going to get that right first time. Nick Games, Jim is here from Reaper Games. Nick Games, Duncan FX, Damjon's here. Miller's turned up. Tim Bix, Little Legions. Will Hungington is here as well. Richard Bradley, King Matt's here. Hello, mate. And I believe that is it. There we go. Cool. So yeah, there's quite a few.
Hello, Steve. Steve's going to be doing one of our quotes. Steve's going to be doing the question later. So, hello, Steve. Miller's popped in as well. So happy days. Right. Which question shall we do first, then, gentlemen?
Cool. You do yours while you're on.
Dealer's choice. Yeah.
Okay, dealer's choice. Okay, happy days. You just get it up. Don't you love it when you're prepared, you've got it on the thing, then all of a sudden your phone goes on a wild one and you completely lose it. There it is. So, here we go. So this is from Steve. He's put, why do you have /play latest rules for a game? We complain about rules not working and should never have changed. We can just play the old set as normal and ignore the new stuff, e.g. Black Powder. Nothing wrong with playing first edition. If you don't like it, want to play the late. If you don't like it and then want to play the latest, so he just wants to hear what the thoughts are on that. Why do we always go with the newer edition rule sets, even though we like older edition rule sets?
I think it's because we hope that because there's been FAQs and things that have been released, that those sort of little niggles have been addressed. Usually, the majority of little rules have been changed, and then it might be a couple of. I can't think of anything particularly in Black Powder 2 that is different from first. Really,
artillery operates differently, doesn't it?
No,
still
rockets do. Just rockets.
Just rockets.
Rockets and commanders are overall army commanders, but there's a whole selection of optional rules for overall commanders in Black Powder. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't know. I guess it's just the idea that you would expect like a new edition to sort of take into account, keep everything that it had good before, but take into account community feedback and a good example. I think, an example of where something I think went nuts was Malifaux, because the first edition was really quite interesting and that, and then the second edition went mental and added all sorts of complications. And then, from what I understand, in the third edition, it's jumped back to being simple again.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess you just live in hope, don't you, that all your comments are taken on board and any little niggles are worked out. But he's right. If you don't like it, you can always play
Something else.
something else, something older. Just play the old editions.
No,
It's quite a
we talked
relevant
about this a
question
few
because
times, haven't we? Sorry,
Uh,
carry on, Steve.
I was going to say it's quite relevant because I was only discussing this on Friday night. So Games Workshop have just released a new edition of Blood Bowl.
Yes, we spoke
when the
about
new
that.
the edition before this came out 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
picking the new one up. I'm sticking with the one that I started 3 years ago. I don't see. I'm not going to go into a Games Workshop rant, but I will not be playing or buying that game. I'm going to stick with the one that I like, and that's where I'm going to leave that.
I guess as well, if you're in a club or something, you want to keep relevant with everybody else. I guess if you're in that kind of a situation, or you're big into a tournament scene, then then tournaments are really only, unless it's a specifically Blood Bowl first edition tournament or X-Wing first edition, for example, you're gonna usually be using the most recent edition of the rules.
Yeah, that would be my point. I mean, I think that's the only reason, legitimately, why you'd want to keep or just constantly update is, as you say, if the rules are better or there's some rule change in there that you prefer, or you think will make a difference, the rules make them better, then fine. But I think other than that, it's the fact that when you go to another club or you play with other people, you're all playing. It's like if we all met up and said, let's play Black Powder, and Ken pulls out edition 1 and we're playing edition 2. I know there's not an awful lot of difference, but it still would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? So you want to play the latest for that, or as you say, in a competitive. But it is one of those oddities that Wargamers have, and I'm guilty of it completely.
Yeah.
Of buying the latest version.
Yeah.
Even when, I mean, the absolute classic for me, and I think I mentioned this before now, I really loved Warhammer Ancient Battles. I thought it was a really good set of rules. I loved it for Ancients. And me and my mates used to play it all the time. But stopped making it. They basically they stopped supporting it. All the people who wrote it were, as I understand it, let go in some capacity or other, and basically it literally overnight stopped. So there are never going to be any more updates or anything else. But it still fundamentally was the same rule set that worked pretty well. But pretty much everybody stopped using it.
Yeah.
There's a reasonable size fan base still out there using it, I understand.
Yeah, it's Facebook group for it, isn't it?
Page.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? So why did we all drop it? And everybody I knew dropped it because it wasn't going to be supported anymore. And
even though it's completely
it's still fundamentally a really good rule set.
Yeah.
I suppose that's
it was. I don't know. Something else was Wargamers.
Yeah. It is very much a strange one in that regard, isn't it? It's like if a new edition of Bolt Action comes out, there's nothing wrong with this edition too. It's kind of like, is it like it's not a FOMO thing, but is it like a fear of missing out? In like you're missing out, you've not got the latest shiny new toys, and it's like us, we're just as bad when we buy new plastic models, isn't it?
I think you could have something in it. Yeah, you could have something there, Ken. I think you could be right.
Maybe missing out on something. We're gonna.
I mean, it's like I'm guilty of this as well. I'll buy all the latest rule sets. Sort of some rule set comes out and I'll buy it because I think, oh, that sounds interesting. Genuinely, I think it's going to be exciting. But probably 50%, maybe more of the rule sets I own, I've never played a single game in.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why did I buy that? Why did I bother? But yeah.
No, it's a good. I think we summed it up really with the fact of, it's a fear of missing out on something that other people are going to have, and also it's the fact of, clubs, people want to keep up the latest rule sets. They don't want to go out of date, like you guys are saying, and also not getting any support anymore. Even though it's really weird because me and Steve really want to have a game of Epic, and that's not been developed like Epic second edition back since 93, 94, something like that, Steve. So, but we're going to play it just fine, aren't we?
The last expansion for that, I started playing the second edition in 92.
Yeah.
So it would have been about 94, 95. That's when he started expanding. They had those massive great big titans. I think we stopped playing at that stage. But no, the one from '92, yeah, they used to release really cool expansions for it, big square boxes. You get all the tokens and the cards and the books.
I've had one of them. They're so
was it
nice.
'97 they went to Warmaster?
No, they did Epic 40k, didn't they? I think a little bit later for Warmaster. I think it was. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. But it's like we're going to play a game of second edition thingy, even though there's 4 editions out, and we're probably going to absolutely love it. And there's no reason not to enjoy it. But I think that's a really good question. Really good question.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I don't see what people are saying because I've seen quite a few.
I just want to say hello. Wardrobe plays World War II. I haven't seen you on here before, buddy. Welcome. He's just put there are several contingents who still play Flames of War 3rd edition, and that's not the latest. So he's pretty happy with Blitzkrieg Commander 3 and said that support for Blitzkrieg Commander version 4 because that's what's for sale now. Honestly, the 2 versions aren't different really. He's got a point there. You know, it is a like revamp of rules as well for companies. Is a way to make money by selling rule books, isn't it? It is
absolutely.
Oh, definitely. But then they are businesses as well, so they've got to try and keep. But it's a chance to do new starter sets and things, isn't it? So
everyone loves a starter set. Everybody loves a starter set.
Where are we? I've lost it here. Oh, Jay's here. Hello, mate. And where are we? A certain company is guilty of rolling new editions. Matt Mail says quite rightly because most people move on, and if you want to have a go with them, you have to go with them if you want to have a game. Leslie says it's the B&Q, the new edition for the new intake at school. And
I like it.
Where are we? And I just saw one. If you just trying to keep up with people, I guess. But the thing is, as well, I mean, if you want to, again, it's up to you. I suppose again, it comes down to setting. There's nothing stopping you playing those older editions. And sometimes you can make a bit of an event of it.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a bit of almost a looking back kind of thing when you see old rule sets come out down the clubs a lot, where suddenly someone brings out one of those old sets and it becomes a big event to suddenly play it, and it's like, oh great. So it's weird, they sort of become collector's items eventually. Some of them do, not all.
Yeah.
Sure. It's weird. Weird.
No, this is it.
No,
that's a good question.
General Haig said he's still mystified why his club stopped playing WAB. Yeah, I don't know. Mine did too. Battle Knight says to check out War and Conquest. It's the new edition of WAB. I think I've got that. up there.
I love it how you have to think
Someone
about
told me that before.
But again,
I know,
but again, you don't need to because WAB was very good.
Precisely, I've already got it. JP says he likes Warhammer English Civil War and plays that. I've still got that rule set as well. I think I played a couple of games, so that was quite good. Who else? Yeah, then they're on about computer games.
Well, it is a bit like computer games, though, isn't it? Because they just reskin FIFA every year and release that, and everyone buys it.
Yeah, Muppets.
Very true. Very, very true.
We're all guilty of that. I've done it. I used to do it with Call of Duty.
Well, sometimes. Never FIFA. Never been a fan of football. Actually, sport games in general. I don't even like sport in real life.
The last FIFA game I bought was 2 years ago. I'm not a FIFA player. I have been. I used to be a PES player.
Jeez Louise, Steve. Brave putting that out there, mate.
But
be you a PES player, but yeah, no, that's a good question. Cheers for that. Cheers for that, Steve. Really appreciate that. I hope that helps, and I hope your question was answered. Let me know, mate.
Someone for Andrew from Brisbane is just coming. He just wants us to know that he's sweating his arse off in Brisbane. So
it's actually about 2 degrees here.
It's freezing fog here. It's horrible.
It's freezing fog here too. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's like
oh god.
Yeah, it was nasty here this morning.
It's got vibes of 1812 going on here. Just vibes of 1812 Russia. That's all I can say. But yeah, shall we move on to the next question, guys? Who's got the next one?
Yeah.
Come on, Martin, you do it if you're ready.
I haven't got any.
Oh, you haven't got any. All right, then.
I
You
haven't
don't
got
do it
any.
then.
No, I haven't got any.
All right. Well, I've got Peter's little question of the week. So let me do that one. I wrote it down here because it's easier. He said, "Have you watched Alan Perry's Egypt game on Wargames Illustrated? What areas, such as the British in India, do the guys think will never get gamed, and for what reason?" British in India has been gamed, doesn't it? It's quite a few rule sets. Well, not lots of rule sets, but there are some. I mean, the Perrys do some lovely figures from that.
Yeah,
period.
I think of ones that like you might game once and then not game again because you kind of done it then. Or I mean, I really want to do the Anglo-Zulu War. I really want to do it. I do really want to get the Rorke's Drift set. I want to do all that, but it's quite limited. I think. I mean, you know, I mean, realistically, I mean, again, you know, I don't have a problem with making up battles and things like that, but I don't know. I guess there's some medieval periods that people will find it hard to get games out of.
I'm hard pressed to think of any period rather, that people wouldn't try and game.
I've got a modern one.
You think?
I've got a modern one that I've not heard of.
Yeah.
Falklands.
Well, funny you say that. Funny you say that. I mean, there are companies that produce figures for that, and I can't remember which Facebook page it was, but just today I saw somebody post a question: where could you buy some Falkland figures?
Really?
And I know that I used to have a rule set that was, oh God, what was it? It was a ship warfare thing, which was basically had all the rules to allow you to fight the Falklands War if you wanted to, had exocets and all that kind of stuff. Personally, it was never a war I felt terribly comfortable gaming, because I remember it vividly, and I had friends, acquaintances who fought there, and it just feels too close to home for me. But a bit like I don't feel terribly comfortable with doing things like Gulf War or the Afghan situation or anything like that. But I know people do. So I think Falklands is a period that people do game.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not many, but it definitely is out there. You can buy figures for it, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I can't really think of many, to be honest.
No, I'm the same. Actually, it's been racking my brain. I can't.
Sorry, carry on.
No, just been racking my brain. I can't really think of any. I mean, I can understand what you said about the Falklands, that it was only 40 odd years ago. So it's still kind of fresh in the mind. But I know I've watched a couple of battle reports of people using force on force to do modern warfare set in the Middle East, or fictional countries in the Middle East.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of thing I can sort of understand. I think some of those, like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? I can't remember now, that Tom Stanyard video about the Indo-Pakistan War. And I actually think that's absolutely fascinating. And I'd love to do that. And I think same with some of the Arab-Israeli wars. I think those sort of mass tank games, if you're into tanks, I mean, it'd be terrific to do a battle. But I never have fought anything like that. But I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm
Battlefront did some stuff for Arab-Israeli War.
Yeah, they did.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they did actually, because I played it with Froggy from Battlefront Salute, and he signed one of the Team Yankee rule books because his wife's Israeli, I think he was saying.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure he said that. But I remember him saying he was like going up. You've got the Russian tanks, and you've got all like the Israeli tanks and stuff like that, and Russian tanks. Like I think they were T-70s, were they, and stuff like that. And they were like it was like a horde thing, and then you've got like the Israeli tanks. You get less of them, but they're more powerful.
I think does it? I mean, unless you're doing it for like say a convention, that if you wanted to get a set, like you'd want to be playing it against this like other people, unless you're going to build up everything, and then you're going to is it something that you're regularly going to have opponents for as well? And sometimes something can be quite a big. If you do quite an obscure project or a period, you would probably make both sides. And that could be quite a big project for some. It'd be like you say, a year's project to maybe game a couple of times. And maybe you will game it more. But I guess it could be quite soul destroying if you did all the stuff and then you couldn't find anyone who wanted to game it.
Yeah, it would be a bit crushing, wasn't it? 100%.
Yeah. Miller said, "Is there anything for Aztecs? Isn't there? I think there's a game. Isn't there a game just come out called Flint and Feather, or is that meant to be earlier than Aztecs? Is that meant? I don't know. Like Conquistadors and
I don't know. I said there are really nice kits. I was talking about this last week. I think with Conquistadors and Aztecs that I used to have. I probably still got them somewhere. That the 20 mil figures, and we had a homegrown rule set that we used for that, and that was kind of fun.
There you go. I've got a period. Ice Age. The Ice Age.
Well,
don't tell
Steve
me.
Barber does a set. Steve Barber does a whole thing on prehistoric and mammoths and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that's all there. There's even things like the Congo game. There isn't there. That's literally. I think whatever your poison, whatever you fancy, it's out there. It's extraordinary. It's hard to think of anything that hasn't at one point. But I think you're right, Martin, about the whole thing about it's more a question of your group. So I think all these things, in my experience, these bizarre projects that people end up doing are generally a couple of guys at a club sort of get their head together and go, you know what? Wouldn't it be absolutely fascinating to do the fifth Maori War? And they'll all suddenly decide to do it, and be 4 or 5 people all come together and do it, and they may only play 4 or 5 games, and then it never actually sees the light of day again. But it becomes that fun project for them all to do. And
I tell you one that I thought of at this. I've just got to say this actually. Duncan FX has said, "What about Oasis versus Blur, the war game?" that's one for Steve. I know Steve could be in that.
He loves that one. Yeah.
I'd like to call that a score draw.
Yeah. I tell you something I thought I don't think I've seen anyone do. Now I know there's a couple of miniature ranges for it. But he's like, what about the French invasion, one near you, the Mary Rose? I don't think I've ever seen anyone try and do the Mary Rose with the land stuff as well, and have the sinking. And that would look awesome, because you could have Portchester Castle, you could have the land stuff, you have the Isle of Wight and all the French on the land, and you've got the French frigates coming in.
I was at Portchester Castle the other week. I was literally down there. There's a broadband fault.
I think that's a really interesting. I think it's a good call, that one. I'd love to see that.
No,
I can't think of ever seeing anything from that period at all.
Now they're talking about
there must be stuff.
Oasis would be good in a melee. Back on that now.
Yeah, but you'd have a lot of opportunity for treachery. I mean, Liam against Noel and
that's true. Just turn on each other.
Turn on each other as much as the opposition. Oh dear. What people are saying in the chat. Let's have a look. Zulu Wars are a bit limited, says Leslie. Falklands War is a bit slow. Terrain is simple. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, Paul's Paint Shed says loads of stuff for India. Mofo figures by Gripping Beast do a range for Falklands. I know I've seen them in a few places. Falkland stuff. There is stuff out there. What about the Clang Wars? Is that the Clangers? I don't know. What's the Clang Wars? Don't know that one.
That'd be an amazing war game. The Clangers against the Lumens or something.
Soup Dragon or whatever it was.
Yeah, Tiny Clanger's got an
Warhawks
RPG
have
or
done,
something.
I was thinking a big rocket launcher. Actually, that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's a conversion model waiting
Oh.
to happen.
Oh, here comes Tiny Clanger with his RPG.
Well, here you go. Miller said he's making a 1 to 400 airfix model of the Mary Rose. He found it a little. There you go. Look, Miller can do that project.
Yeah,
Oh, well done.
Well done, mate.
Miller. We need you to do that. Yeah.
There you
Good
go.
volunteering. Well done.
Can I just say thanks to? Can I just say?
Go on.
I was just going to say thanks to Martin for reminding me the Moomins existed. I'd blacked them out my brain for the past 20 years.
Oh, the Moomins. My daughter loves the Moomins. There's been like a new series out. There's been a whole new series out, and the problem is though it's voiced by Matt Berry. You know, he's in this series of What We Do in the Shadows. He does the Money X supermarket adverts. But he's like But all I can think of him is in like What We Do in the Shadows, where he's just swearing and sordid. And then he's the Moomin dad.
I can see why that would be a bit disturbing. I love it.
Apparently, Flint and Feathers is for early North American native warfare, and now also includes the colonists. So, okay.
Is Canada got any wars like with America? Haven't they? Canada have had wars with America.
Like 18. Well, arguably 1812. I suppose you could argue.
Yeah. There any civil wars?
What, the Canadian Civil War?
Has there ever been a Canadian Civil War? I don't know that part of history very well.
You just mean Canadian history?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, the French side and the English-speaking side never had it to do.
I was going to say there was maybe a bit of a scrap between the French and the English, but then that was mainly involving the French and the English rather than French and British, wasn't it? So rather than mind you, they were, I don't know, would have been loyalists each side. So I suppose that's a sort of civil war.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Apparently, the Clang Wars took place in the 19th century Indonesia. Apparently, according to Paul's Paint Shed. So there you go. And JP said he'd rather do the clangers.
I'll tell you something that I haven't found a system for yet that I would really like, and I suppose it might work better as a board game, which I know might come on to something later. Actually, another question that Dom might have, and that's like I really like martial arts films, and I love over the top wire work and like Jet Li, and I love all that kind of stuff. I love it. I think it's brilliant. Especially now, you're getting these guys who do like Bruce Lee. They do pretty much everything themselves, and it's insane. But a rule set that would actually reflect that kind of thing would be quite cool. And I know there's been a couple there's like some board games that do stuff like that. But that'd be quite cool if you could do like a little Dead Man's Hands like size sort of skirmish. Yeah, that'd be quite something.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it? That'd be really clever, actually.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool. Like ninjas and stuff, throwing stars and nunchucks and
I mean, there's a lot of games that say, like in Infinity, someone might have the skill martial artist, but there was a game, there was a gladiator game called Arena Rex. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. It was on. I didn't back it on Kickstarter because I thought it was really expensive, basically. But I really liked the combat system. That basically what they had on the back of every character card was, I think it was almost like a tree of attacks, and depending on how successful you were, so say you both rolled your combat and say Dom, I beat you by 4, you go down this tree, and so you pick number 1, which is say a hit for 1 damage, and then that branches off into 2 things, and then for the second hit you could either push them or hit them for another damage, and then that branches off, and then you basically select what you want to do, and it would combo out. So you go, I want to punch you, push you, roundhouse kick you, and then do an uppercut. And it would actually, and I actually quite like that. It was on the back of the cards, so there was some of them were quite intricate little things. So you could like push, punch someone off the edge or something, depending on what you got each time. And I thought that reflected combat a bit better about decisions that you were making.
Yeah, it's quite smart. That is
like
smart.
I think I've talked about that. I may have mentioned this before, but we years ago when I was a member of Heston Wargaming Club when I was, pretty much a teenager. So it was 100 years ago now. We used to do a Christmas game, which was fantasy stuff. And we all basically, I don't know who developed it, but it was developed over the years. All these different, like you say, those sort of charts. So depending on how skilled a particular character was or type of race of a figure was, you had more options, but you could, it's literally like push, punch, parry, whatever. And it was just, I just loved it. It was just, just appeals to me. That whole thing is so funny to do.
I did think of one more. Dear. I did think of one more conflict that you probably have got. You can play it on a rule set, but I don't know if it's got a specific rule set. What about the Chinese Civil War? So with Chiang Kai-shek and all that before the communists, the nationalists versus the communists.
I can't believe it hasn't been gamed, but I'm trying to think of whether I've ever seen it, because it would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because you then got you've obviously got you still got the Japanese involved, haven't you? So it's like a three-way sort of war, isn't it? With the Russian influence for the communists and America backing the nationalists, and it's all a bit of a funny one, isn't it?
There's Chinese army lists for both, actually.
Yeah,
I think one of those is a 1930. I think one of those is a 1930s list.
Yeah, because obviously there's two different sides, isn't there? You got the nationalists and you got the communists, but they use different weapons and stuff like that as well, which is even more interesting. And they're fighting each other as well as the Japanese, which is quite a different one.
Ken, to answer your question before, America did fight Canada in the South Park movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's all true then. Fantastic.
So
apparently, Paul says Osprey do a martial arts from the 70s. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's one of those little booklets. There you go. You can check that out.
Well, I might have to. Over here, we've got to say, you can get David Carradine in Dead Man's Hand. You can get all sorts of people in Dead Man's Hand. Dom, I know you got it. I don't know if you've been on the website and looked at the mercenaries, but you can get the woman from the current Westworld. You can get the characters from Deadwood. You can get Doc Brown and the DeLorean for a special scenario.
What the fuck?
It's brilliant. Yeah, no, it comes with a scenario. You've got it looks wicked, but that's true, isn't it? Richard Bradley says Rosamund Pike is in the New Moomin. Yeah, she is in the New Moomins. And if you've seen what she gets up to in the film Gone Girl, I also have trouble with her being the Moomin mummy as well. So my daughter's sitting there.
I have seen Gone Girl,
and and you're sitting there going, "That's just
not right."
She also
getting excited by Mama Moomin, are you?
No, not if you've seen that film. I would not. No, I would be terrified. She did the off topic. She does that little bedtime story on CBeebies. So they do like a bedtime, and I clicked it on, and it would be like Tom Hardy. So Haley was like, "Oh, I'll watch this." And then Rosamund Pike comes on, and again, all I can think of is like people getting murdered.
Lovely.
There you go. Bit off topic, but yeah.
Nice. A couple of other suggestions here. Well, actually, Battle Knight says Canadian Civil War, isn't that just the hockey season? I think you're probably right. Seen some of those guys actually at each other. Friends of General Haig says Perry's have done a fabulous range for British intervention in the ACW. Gorgeous figures, but quite mad. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? ACW, British interference. I don't know. Paul is on fire. He's saying King Philip's War, King William's War, and Queen Anne's War all took place in 17th century America. So that'd be quite interesting. You could have the proxy fighting in America like we always seem to do for quite a long time. And Peter suggests, what about British in Holland in the 1780s?
Good shout.
Period. Good shout, that one, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's...
I mean, this is the thing, though, that you think about all these periods, and actually, people keep bringing them up and saying, "Yeah, actually, you can do that," and "Yep, you can do that." I mean, back in the day when we could get around conventions and stuff, they were great places to see some of these really obscure periods that were just great fun to, different settings, and people had a huge amount of effort building these scenes of, like Siege of Nanking or something.
That's it. Well, guys, hopefully next year we're going to be able to get back to doing some sort of new normality. It's been good news, isn't it? We've got to admit it's good news for the vaccine front. So hopefully next year we might be able to get some Warfare. Hopefully will definitely be on in November. That's very much a hopeful, isn't it? We can hope for that. So
I would think that's a fair probability now.
I would definitely think so. Oh, I do. Oh, that bring and buy sale's got my name written all over it. Hello, bring and buy, my old friend. I'll just walk in there and go, hello, bring and buy, my old friend. Some
geeks. Go in with a big box and just say, fill me up.
Yes, please.
Tim Bick says, get all these sellers for CrackCon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. CrackCon's making spaces. CrackCon is making spaces. That's all we're going to say.
Do you know what? I'm going to try and find a way to have some kind of cut of the CrackCon convention bring and buy sale, because I know that Ken's just going to spend so much money. It's going to fund my Wargaming.
What are you on about, Dom? Just empty your garage and sell it to Ken.
Yeah. No. You know what the rules to CrackCon are going to be before
no one talks about CrackCon.
What happens at CrackCon stays at CrackCon. No, if anyone wants to sell anything at a bring and buy at CrackCon, they've got to come to the stand where they drop the stuff off first, and I give them a preliminary offer, a bit like, what's it called? What's that show where you go, do you want to take it to auction or whatever it is? Oh, what's that show on the BBC where you offer the money? Oh, man.
Like Dickinson's Real Deal.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that actually it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Dickinson's Real Deal. So I say, I'll give you this for it, or do you want to take it to the tables?
Can I ask you guys a quick question from Grandad's Art Space? He's got a quick question. Right. I'm sure the guys in the chat will get this. Did the British forces have half tracks in North Africa? They had universal carriers, didn't they?
They had Brens. Yeah, they had Brens.
I don't think they did until very late on, did they?
I don't know. They might have done. They might have done with Lend-Lease though. With Lend-Lease, it is possible they actually had American half tracks, if that's what he means. Possibly.
Steve's the man. Honestly.
I'm thinking motorized platoons. Well, especially in 41 onwards, would have been mostly in trucks. I'm not quite. I don't know when. I really don't. British isn't really my strong suit, but I don't think not in like the early North African campaign whether they had half. Like I said, they may have, but they probably did use Bren carriers, or universal carriers. But as far as M5 or M3 half tracks go,
it's hard to say.
Really not sure.
That Paul would probably. I don't know why. That Paul will probably know the answer to. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling that Paul would.
I'm just thinking back to when I used to run a North African list in Flames of War years ago, and the options were always trucks. There was never any half tracks.
The only thing I think of for half tracks might not have been infantry transport, but maybe anti-air. That's what I was thinking, an anti-air role for a half track.
Peter says only German captured ones, which is probably not bad. I can't imagine. I don't think they did in the desert. I think by the time it was in Italy, I think they had them, possibly a few around, but don't think in the desert they did.
No, in my head, I can just see all the motorized just being in standard trucks, not half tracks.
Yeah, Paul's just come back, says he doesn't think so in North Africa.
Cool. Well, there we go. To be fair, yeah, I think I'm not that good on my World War II vehicles or that part of it. I'm only really good on Western Europe.
I'm a bit like Steve. If it's in rule sets and army lists, then that's kind of where I'll take it from. But that's not always the most accurate.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh yes, you'll find that in May 15 there was 3 of them delivered too.
That is precisely why I said it's a possibility. Just in case, you never know. There could have been one. But yeah, it's bloody French. Got so many to make up.
I like that all the time. Bloody French. They're discussing various shows that have been announced or cancelled. Apparently, Adepticon has been cancelled again in the US.
But yeah, I'm not surprised with their figures, amount of people who've got it over there. Jeez Louise. Got mental over there, isn't it?
America's in real trouble with that, aren't they? Hammerhead has just been moved. I think it was originally February or March. It's been moved to July now.
Well, I wonder if that. Well, you got to remember as well that the O2 is a Nightingale Hospital, or whatever it is, where they hold. So they're not going to be holding shows there until that's closed. So they might postpone it again to later on in the year, possibly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, that's the only thing with Salute. It's going to be touch and go because of that very factor. Because even if everything gets straight, just getting the Excel Centre back to some sort of normality could take a long time. And
unless they find a different venue, innit? That's the only thing.
Yeah, but the trouble is, in London these days, there aren't many big ones. I mean, Olympia's closed. Not Olympia. Earl's Court's gone, hasn't it? So Olympia's there, but then pretty much the shows are in there. So, and most of these shows are literally they're booked up 10 years in advance. They're literally 1 year after another. They book them out. So the chances of having a venue, even at the weekend, you're gonna have to host something like Salute. London is zip, I would think.
Yeah, so possibility no Salute, but I tell you, I can't see Warfare not going ahead. I can't see that.
No, I think as you head through the summer and into the winter again, unless heaven forbid the vaccine doesn't work or doesn't work as long as they expect, I can see sort of shows the second half of the year definitely going ahead.
Yeah.
Brush and Quill says that Salute has a has a date, and people who deferred their 2020 tickets to it. But then I suppose, like you say, that could change. So
if they haven't got a venue, it doesn't matter whether they deferred the tickets. They'll just have to refund them or defer them again, I guess.
Be a shame. I definitely would like to get it. Well, hopefully we'll be doing CrackCon. Everyone can come to that.
I think they would.
I think people would just be pleased to get it. Especially like watching those footage of things like that. Was it Nottingham Christmas market? Just people just pleased to be out and just swamping it.
Yeah.
It's just, let me out.
Yeah, this is it.
Geez.
Yeah, we got some exciting things in the new year for the podcast. So just watch out, watch this space.
Well, you have to go and set things up like that.
Yeah.
And, everyone would be so disappointed. I saw something the other day, so interesting to get your feedback on this. And I sent it around the group, but I don't know whether anyone had a chance to read it. But on a Facebook page, and it was a bit clickbaity, really, to be honest. But it was saying that historical gamers have a lot to learn from board games.
I saw that, mate. I was like, and I clicked it. I fell for the clickbait.
It was a bit clickbaity, but actually got me thinking, because so the the basic sort of tenet of the article was the fact that board games have a much better way of handling things like cooperative systems. So, two or three players playing against the system. And I think they also talked about computer games as well in the same terms, that and that historical, particularly historical wargaming, it's very much one-on-one or one against two or two-on-two or what have you. There's always a human opponent. It doesn't have that cooperative setup, really.
No,
it's much more combative.
Yeah.
And I think actually it's a really interesting point. And I got me thinking about good systems, whether there are any really good systems that actually allow you to play properly cooperatively, where there's something meaningful. I don't mean the sort of I've seen Zulu War ones where the Zulus are just literally wall after walls of figures coming charging down the table and doing nothing sensible at all, and it's just about how many the Brits kill. But I'm thinking about actually properly collaborative system that allows 2 players, 3 players to work together against a clever opponent.
I have got one.
I can't really think of any.
Got one. It's not historical, but it is a miniatures game, and that is The Walking Dead. Walking Dead. Who does it? It's Mantic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got the. It is Mantic. Yeah, because I got the start set for it, and I've played that with Liam, cooperatively, and it is bloody good fun. It's like a little story. It's really quite cool. It is very cool. Actually.
It's quite good because it works. But zombies have got, because it's zombies, they've got quite a limited. They've got a good set of rules to follow, haven't they? There's like certain physics and laws that that the zombies have to do. So it does that kind of thing pretty well. I've played it as well. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, it is.
The only one I can think of is I've got the Dark Souls board game. I can play that solo, or you can play it cooperatively with up to 4 other people. Now you play against the game, and it's behavior card driven. So they have certain behaviors that they have to do during that turn. When you fight like the big bosses, they have multiple behaviors. So you've got to remember what sequence they're going to attack in.
Yeah,
but it's a brutally hard board game to play.
Like the video game.
It's very reminiscent. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the video game. But I bought it. It's come up to must be 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's not. I mean, mine cost 90 quid. I mean, for a board game, it's not not something you'd go out and just 90 quid.
Yeah.
I have Kingdom Death, right? Which now goes for about 600 quid.
Holy shit!
The first edition of that, and I played it and I love it. I think it's a great game, but every time I think about getting it out, that's very similar to Dark Souls. That has
don't let Hayley know, mate. Don't let Hayley know. She'll get rid of that, mate. 600 quid. Jesus.
Oh yeah, well no, she likes it because her character in it has got this. You roll for random events, and she's got this massive great hammer that's attached to her arms, that when she attacks you have to roll on the table because half a chance it's going to break your arms. It's so big. So no, she likes that. So until she loses that, but no, I think board games do handle that. But I think, is that because you're on limited scope, you're on a limited board, you have usually hex movement or grid based movement, so you're not free movement like you have in a war game.
That's why I think Walking Dead does it really well, because you've still got free movement in that, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's why I think it does do it quite well. But I've got that Nemesis Lockdown as well. Well, I had it. I sold it now. Got rid of it. Just because I knew I wasn't going to play it very much. And I wanted the money to get more plastic. And,
I think there is some things that you can learn from board games. I don't know. I find, because I play a lot of board games as well, but I would say, I used to say that I would find board gaming sometimes more relaxed, but then I ran into a string of really, really competitive board game players, and that completely changed my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Play me at War of the Ring, mate. You won't be relaxed. I can assure you.
Do you think board games are, if you were getting someone into the hobby as like an entry point, do you think board games are sort of the easiest way to sort of get them in, because it's often a very confined game, 3 or 4 people around a table. You can sort of play the rules as you play along. You don't have to sit down for an hour and a half, explain what the rules are, which sometimes happens with a tabletop game. I just think sometimes board games are a sort of an easier entry level game.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Miniature, they'd have to have miniatures on though. That's the thing. It has to be. You have to have miniatures. Like I
actually think it's for me. It's I think there's something in that, but I think partly it's also the verticals, the acceptability of board gaming versus figure gaming. I think a lot of I think back to growing up and people I was mates with, they wouldn't be seen dead playing with toy soldiers because that was babyish, but they quite happily play Risk or play some other board game, Settlers or something like that, because that was kind of cool, acceptable to play. So I don't know. I don't know if that's still true today, but it certainly was when I was growing up. People just wouldn't seem dead playing with toy soldiers. Why would they do that?
Wasn't that going to be a question the other week? Were you a secret wargamer?
Yes, that's true. Secret wargamer. I think we've all sort of talked about it at various stages of being that sort of outcast, admitted, whether you admitted to being a wargamer or not.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I've only in the past 10 years or so, I felt sort of comfortable in saying I paint and play with toy soldiers. But before that, it was just kind of something that I didn't really mention to anyone. My family knew and my gaming chums knew, but a lot of people didn't know about that side of my interest. So, but yeah, the past decade, I think more and more people have felt, I don't know, a bit more comfortable about admitting that it's a that they enjoy.
Yeah, I did the sensible thing.
I think I mentioned this before. My wife was always the one that would always spill the beans, whether I wanted to tell anyone or not, because she had this great thing whenever we went around people's houses and they, we didn't know them very well or what have you, and she'd say, "Oh, I share my house with thousands of men," as a sort of opening gambit, and it's like, and then you get this horrified look on their faces, and then she'd explain that they were little toy soldiers, and then I got the horrified look. So
yeah, kind of I got it over with at work because I just knew the environment I was working in. If they found out and I didn't tell them, oh my god, that would have been it. So I just told them. all when it came out. I was like, oh, I've been painting some of these guys up at the weekend. They went, what? What you been doing? And I was like, playing with men, and they were like, what?
Did you say you were playing with men?
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
Right.
And but yeah, I distracted them. But no, to be fair, it's really funny because I've had I'm not going to mention names, but I've had a couple of people come up to me at work and go, "Oh, how's it all work then?" And like on the sly,
See, I don't know if I'm quite fortunate. I've never. I wouldn't say I go around sort of like shouting about it, but I've never. If people ask or if people think, I've never not told them, or people come around the house, they'll see them. There's loads of them. There's a big display cabinet with loads in. But
you're the boss, though, mate.
Yeah, I am now. Yeah, I know. So they don't have a choice. But fortunately, a lot of the people who work at the business, they all game as well. So I can think of 1, 2 out of us. Yeah, probably about 75% of the people game, I would say, in one way or another.
Yeah, you got the guy that left his paint thing in there as well, haven't you? He does it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, they're all. I don't know. I find when I was at school, I didn't shout about it because I didn't want to get a kicking. But Now it doesn't. Now it doesn't bother me. And now I've got Haley doing it as well. Especially, she can't sort of try to embarrass me because I can just say, "Well, look here."
Just need to get the paint.
Do you know what the
It's definitely one of those things. I think
yeah, the biggest test for me is that I've been on the same football forum for 17 years, and it's a very small forum. There's only about 30-40 people, but you get to know these people over 17 years. And it's only been in the past 2 years they now know what I do. I've got my own thread on there and I post pictures of what I've been painting, and a lot of them are quite interested because a lot of them are interested in history. So I was like, oh my god, they're going to think I'm this strange nerd. But now the reception was largely of interest. So I post on there quite a lot what I've been painting, and get a bit of discussion on there. So I think half the battle is that you're trying to second guess what people are going to react like. Most people wouldn't give a flying fudge what you do, but it's a strange one. It really is.
It's all good.
I think it is in our heads, isn't it? A lot of the time, especially as we're younger, I think we sort of worry what other people think when actually, like you say, most people don't give a damn. And then there's an awful lot of people who are actually fascinated by it, and there's an awful lot of people who are genuinely interested in the history side of it. So they might not ever game or what have you. I can think of countless friends that I've known who have absolutely no interest in gaming, but they kind of want to come around and have a look at some of the figures, or they might be into tanks, and have you got whatever tank? And you go, oh yeah, I've got one of those, and they'll want to see those, and so that definitely happens.
I'll tell you what though, I'm not going to lie. Like if I was doing this at like the age of 19, 18 and I wasn't with my missus, I wouldn't be going out and advertising on the pool that I was that I was painting toy soldiers on my weekends. That probably wouldn't. I
don't think I ever brought that up in that situation in a nightclub. I don't think that once has ever come up.
And if you ever have, and you're watching this stream, fair fucking play. You got bigger balls than me.
Jim says that there's more community around now, so the internet definitely helps. I agree.
Warhammer helps.
Definitely, yeah.
Warhammer helps. Being mainstream now, it helps.
Yeah, it did. Miller says the same here. He'd be torn in half if they found out at his work. I remember he did a video about that. I think he was hiding in his work van at the time as well.
If I find out he works, we're just dropping an anonymous email.
That's evil. You're evil. Imaginary Conflict says he's pretty open about his wargaming hobby. The burly engineers he worked with think he's weird because he spends loads of money on plastic instead of rum and whiskey. That's true. I suppose the only time I argue with anyone is if they I don't know, smoke loads. And I'll be like, well, you've just spent 12 quid on a pouch of baccy. And when you've been to the shop like twice already today, so
yeah,
King Matt, Pete Watson says you have to be upfront with talking about wargaming. Yeah, that's right. I play with toy soldiers. King Matt says I remember the day he came out in the nerd closet, and it's worse if you try to keep it hidden.
True.
There's also worse things in miniature wargaming.
That should have been the name of this podcast, shouldn't it? The Nerd Closet.
The Nerd Closet. There you go, Matt.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that is good.
Copyright.
It could be cocaine. There you go. That's
Well, Martin, you've got special subjects on that.
I've managed to bridge the gap with my Chrysler Superior Scale Model Snow. Matt Mail says he used to work at a car factory and instantly wrote about playing D&D for the Works magazine, and that was a mistake.
Oh shit! He does what, Jeff? Instead of going down the pub after he finishes work, he does fucking what? He goes to buy some paint. He goes to buy some paint. What?
That's it. Brush and Quill says he doesn't deal anymore. He used to worry, but he has key supporters at work, and that there are workplaces where it would be a nightmare if they knew, like the police, for instance. No, it is true. I mean, it does help. I mean, the thing is, I do think they're right. I think the internet has made it easier to because you're not necessarily just isolated in your house you know, if you haven't got a local gaming club, you can go online and join a podcast.
Join a podcast. You can even play Black Powder games and not record them.
And then not record them because you lost. I mean, because the connection didn't work.
You lost. Yeah.
I was so
Leslie
pissed
said
about that.
hobbies have become more acceptable as we have more leisure time, which I think is true, but I think it's also an age thing. Graham says, all my work colleagues know I wargame. Most are quite interested in how it works. I think, like you guys are saying, I think a lot of it depends on where you work and what kind of job you do. Some are definitely more accepting than others. Peter says, this will divide some, and I can say this one with he says, all my bowling club ask questions and are generally interested. I love the idea that bowling club is slightly more interesting than wargaming. I don't know. I mean, I can say I'm a bowler as well, so I'm not going to criticise it because, but yeah, the idea that
that was my first ever job was working at a bowling alley. That's my first ever job.
Really? Were you one of those ones that have to go and dance on the lanes or anything like that?
I dressed I dressed up as a Marshall the dog, and I did the cha-cha slide.
Can you do that at Crackle?
There is a video of me actually doing it somewhere. My dad's got it because that's how I got the job, and this was when I was 16. But yeah, I used to work at bowling alley, and I'm quite good at bowling.
I like Matt's one. So King Matt's just said he's a LARPer, so he tends to use miniature wargaming to make him sound less lame.
To be fair though, the lads at work now, they respect it because they see I'm doing YouTube and stuff like that, and they're like, "How many subscribers you got now?" And it's like 1,600. They're like, "Bloody hell!" They're like, "It's going all right." I was like, "Yeah, it's going fine. You never know. One day, it just takes one viral video, and then I don't work here no more." I become famous.
That just reminded me, right? The team that I used to manage, they knew what I was into. I played with toy soldiers, painted the toy soldiers. I told them one time that I play a fishing game on my Xbox, and it was like, oh yeah, that playing a fishing game on my Xbox didn't even come close to wargaming. Wargaming to them was acceptable. Playing fishing on an Xbox was just the worst thing in the entire world.
Yeah, I get it sometimes.
So
when I
Steve,
do
you've
it.
just changed jobs. Have you told your new work lot that you've what you do for a hobby?
No. There's that mandatory time you give before you start
like a relationship, like a relationship, yeah.
In the honeymoon phase where you're still trying to appear nice and friendly and get to know people, and you don't want to put people off. I know.
I found it harder telling people that I like heavy metal than I do wargaming, because when you tell people you're into metal, you kind of get this kind of look straight away, and you know, like I'm going to go out and sacrifice a goat, you know, and
I just imagine you instantly with black hair.
My first ever.
That's all. Whenever I do
that was in my first ever job. I was trying to explain to one of my colleagues about liking metal. And she was like, "Oh, but Stephen, you're such a nice boy. Why are you listening to music like that?"
I know.
But you're such a nice boy. Oh, Jesus. Trouble is, Martin, when you refer to heavy metal, you're talking about all the metal figures you carry around, don't you?
Oh yeah. It's just combined. It's a it takes in so many parts of my life now.
This is it. It's like with me. Yeah, I do a lot of VR. Flying in my simulator and stuff like that. The guys find that more weird than they do playing with these models. They think it's well strange that I go flying in VR with my flight stick and stuff. And I'm like, no, I just like flying around the Solent, you know, like you do. And they're like, what? They just don't comprehend it. They don't understand. I was like, well, that's what I like doing.
I thought you were going to say go flying around like, you know, the Grand Canyon or something then, or like, you know, go flying around like.
No, you got to fly. You got to fly where you live.
Oh, and everything I live is flat.
That would be very boring. It's cool because the new flight sim's got the Bing Maps imagery, so I can actually find my house properly. So it's quite smart.
Jesus.
Yeah. There you go. Jesus, I'm being.
I've got to switch off now. I think it's just got someone
exciting on this podcast.
Yeah, I've just dropped 4 viewers in that one. No.
Let me say I've lost about 5 there.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. See,
No,
look,
it is bloody old.
judgmental by my colleagues here. But me playing with this Frenchman's completely fine.
It is a weird thing, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I do wonder how the whole internet stuff has definitely helped a lot, because I think, we talked. I know, the fact is this community is actually really, really good, and very supportive and very helpful and very interactive. But instead of, it is kind of one of those hobbies where you do sort of spend a lot of time just sort of sitting on your own, planning or working on a new project or what have you, and the actual gaming time is minimal compared to all the rest of it. So actually having that access to people via the internet is great, I think.
Sorry, there's some fun. So Imaginary Conflict says his partner hasn't yet told her university friends that she has a crushing Korean pop music addiction because she's genuinely scared of frightening them off. And then I suppose there's no worry about them watching this.
That is pretty funny.
Kobach Truth said his colleagues are all female nurses, so he must announce in the staff room tomorrow while ripping his shirt off that you're a wargamer, or
announce what?
It's very open-ended, that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the catch line on that one because.
Yeah, no, I was waiting. He just kind of trailed off. That's oh dear.
Weird.
Yeah.
Jesus. As Paul says, it comes as something when wargamers take the piss out of you. Yeah, sorry about that, Ken.
It's all right. I'm used to it. Don't worry. It's fine.
Peter says, "What's Martin working on? What's your next project?" Drew's done the video on it, yeah.
What now? Sorry, what I'm in 2021? My
should probably leave that for another night, but our New Year's resolution. Yeah, what are you working on?
My first New Year's project, because I've got a time limit on it for stuff. Is to right. So what I'm doing is time dependent, because I've got a set date I've got to get it done by, and also depends entirely on the tier, obviously COVID. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to wait another year. But basically, my first project of the new year will be going back to the 15th century, and I'm going to be tackling probably my favourite character from the Wars of the Roses, and that is the Earl of Warwick, the Kingmaker, and all his goodies that come with him. But he needs a suitably large retinue of troops who are fortunately all red. So that's going to be cool. But that's going to be one of my first projects. So hopefully there'll be some money, maybe at Christmas. I don't know. We'll see. And there'll be some visits to the Perry shop. Like, that's unusual anyway.
I was going to say
what I'm working on at the moment is an addition to my Wars of the Roses stuff, because I hadn't painted any for, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 weeks. I thought I need to do them, and they're going really quickly. I've knocked this out, then all I've got to do is the flesh, and then this lot are done, and that's all done tonight, basically.
Very nice.
There you go.
There's no bloody guesses to what I'm doing for next year. There's no guesses whatsoever.
6 mil.
Not French Napoleonic, though.
Yeah, maybe Dom. Maybe a lot of French Napoleonics. Maybe I've got a feeling I asked Laura for too much. Now thinking about it, so I've got a lot of French to do, but we'll see. We'll see how.
Can you ever have too many Napoleonics? I don't know.
Oh, do you know what?
Yeah.
Seeing how long ago was it? 2.5 months ago. I'd never painted a Napoleonic figure in my life. I've now got 7 battalions, 3 cannons, and a cavalry troop. I'm quite happy.
No, he's. I should probably say, actually, I was gonna shout it out anyway, but he's just asked. He said, "Are you guys watching Brush and Quill's Advent?"
Yes.
Stuff, because I was watching the other day. I've actually found 2 channels that I wasn't aware of. already through that I've subbed to. So yes, it's good. And I was one of those. Well, not obviously I was aware of my own channel, but but no, thank you very much. But no, if anyone's watching, go and check it out. He's doing sort of each day an Advent thing, and he's basically shouting a channel to go and check out and to sort of share a bit of Christmas joy, to go and like actually put a comment on people's stuff and
it's nice, isn't it?
Share it is. It's nice and positive.
Definitely.
And it isn't just historical wargaming either. He's the one he did today, was it? Or was it yesterday? Cosplay. He did one. So not something I'm particularly following, but it was nice to see something different.
Definitely.
Yeah, agreed. There's a few, seen much. I don't remember if I've seen much in the computer games. You get a lot more of these sort of Advent things going on. I haven't seen much this year for wargaming. But,
Oh, someone's asked me if there's going to be another game. There is going to be another game before Christmas, but that's all. It's going to be a festive treat. I'll leave it at that. And,
okay. They're going to be dead Frenchmen hanging from trees.
From Christmas trees, yeah. It's just going to be. I'm going to have like a 95th rifleman. And I'm gonna have him in a big snowball, just his arms and legs sticking out from the sides.
Oh dear.
Hang on a minute, you didn't see off the 95th rifles the other day. I've only just thought
they retired. They got smashed in the face by the old guard, and then they had to retire.
They went off the board though.
Yeah, but they still had to retire. They still got like, were they in the same position that they were in?
They were not destroyed.
They weren't destroyed.
Tactical retreat, was that?
Yeah, it was. The British soldiers never retreat. They tactically withdraw.
Controversial.
No, Leslie, I'm not going to be dressing up Haley as a 95th rifleman.
Oh, fucking hell. No, but he is.
I'm gonna. The thing is that like if I got one of those T-shirts like Dom does, like Dom got that one there, she'd bloody wear it, and it'd be really irritating. So I'm not gonna do it to myself.
We might have to chip in here. As present.
Sort of.
You know, I really regret. I very nearly bought one for for Haley. Then I thought, no, I probably shouldn't do. And then I really regret that. I should have done.
Yeah. It would be good for his battle reports.
Oh, jeez.
It would be good.
Friends of General Haig says there's a big push on War of the Roses for 2021 in Twitter. So, okay.
I've just been checking Twitter then, and I've just seen some of the most lovely War of the Roses figures that I've ever seen. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I have recently returned to Twitter after a brief hiatus. I see some really good models on there. Really good stuff. I don't
understand Twitter. I still can't get my head around it. So.
No, either do I, Martin. Either do I. Or Instagram. I had an Instagram account, and I was just like, I don't understand what the thingy is.
I think I've got one. I don't know. I keep on getting emails from them.
Just put a picture up on it. That's all I do, and I'm like,
how do you not understand it? I can understand not wanting.
No, I just don't. Yeah, well, no, I don't. I don't get it. It's like I said to Haley, "What is it?" She goes, "We just post photos." Like, well, I just do that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Different.
That's the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you got one, then Dom.
Yeah, I do have a Twitter account which I mainly use for work. Actually, I haven't used it very much for a long time because I fell out of love with it because it's just full of obnoxious shits usually. But I do have an Instagram account which.
Yeah, there's no censorship on Twitter either, is there?
No, it's just a load of arseholes mouthing off like certain Trump.
What I found with Twitter is if I keep myself into the community, I only ever discuss two things: wargaming and metal, and that's it. They're the only two things I'll discuss on Twitter. I don't get involved in political spats or to and fro's of people because I'm a grown up. And that's all I use. In Instagram, I actually prefer Instagram over Twitter. Again, it's like many communities. I imagine it can be quite toxic, but I've had more engagement with people who watch my channel through Instagram than any other sort of medium. It's really quite nice when people contact you and ask you questions. How do you do this? How would you go about making this effect? So Instagram for me, I sound like a right social media git now. I always swore I wouldn't return to any form of social media.
You thought that one
and
up,
now
mate. You're a YouTuber.
I'm just constant. But no, today on Twitter, I've had quite a good night on Twitter. I've been chatting to quite a few people. Just really, really nice people and some really great photographs of what people are working on. So it's not something I'd use all the time, and I wouldn't step outside of my interests. But no, it has its place.
Yeah. Is it Reddit as well? People use Reddit a lot, don't they? As I say, people use Reddit a lot as well.
They do actually. Reddit's.
I don't use Reddit. No, I know people do. I know there's a big bolt action presence on Reddit.
My friend posted some stuff on the bolt action Reddit, and he said it was so negative he never went back on there again.
God, Jesus.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I like. I think what I need to do with my account, particularly Instagram, I get so many. So much stuff come up on Instagram that I kind of think I need to find a better way of filtering it down in some way, because
I just seem to see lots of model pictures, Dom. People trying to add just random shit in it. It's like, what the fuck is this? It's like robots and stuff.
That's the definition of social media, isn't it? Just adding random shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's each their own, I guess. It's for me, it's. I don't know. I like to see what other people are working at. Like Steve says, I like to see the sort of what kind of trends are happening. It's interesting to see what people are thinking about and talking about. But I don't know.
I wish there was a social media place just for Wargamers. Social media only for Wargamers. That'd be nice. Just that. There you go.
One good thing about Twitter is that, I mean, occasionally you get so when I did some those American Civil War Pendraken that I've been working on, I posted them on there, and Draken commented, retweeted it, and said, excellent work. I really like the basing. So there is that you can really grab the attention of manufacturers like straight away. It's quite good.
Like Victrix. Martin's face.
No, I'm trying to get something out from under my.
Another way of it'd be another Ken attempt to get freebies if he ever had Instagram. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think there's some great stuff out there. It's just it's like everything else. It's having the time to monitor it and making sure you're looking at the right stuff. Really, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
I do quite like Instagram. I'm not quite. I think somebody was laughing here about. I think Lupus was saying about when I said about it's old-fashioned or something. It's yeah. I mean, all those sort of things. None of the kids use Facebook anymore, do they? It's all Instagram and Snapchat and all this kind of stuff. But I guess again, it depends on the audience you're trying to attract. If you're
exactly our audience,
if you want to show your stuff to younger people, then you're going to have to go on Instagram and Snapchat and whatever else, because they're just not looking at Facebook. That's for us. The old times.
YouTube as well. A lot of people are moving across, aren't they? From YouTube, going to different platforms like independent websites, and looking at different revenue streams.
I wonder about that though. I mean, there's been talk about that sort of thing happening with YouTube for a long, long time, and it never happens. You get a few other groups. There was I can't think of the other places, but there are a number of other places that started up on the sort of basically running the versions of YouTube, but never really took off, and I'd be surprised if many do. More like to see people using Facebook to broadcast stuff, or
Yeah.
Twitch. Twitch is the other one.
Yeah.
Whether there's much on.
Yeah.
I must go and check out Twitch if there's anything decent on Twitch in terms of wargaming. Because
I find a lot of video
mostly a lot of
games.
computer games.
Yeah.
Yeah, computer games. There's a lot on there.
Yeah. I know. It's one of them things, isn't it? It's, I'd like to, do more live streams of games and stuff like that. It's just having the studio set up and bits and bobs. One day it'll happen. Like when I move in my new house next year.
Warlord
studio up. Yeah, go on, mate.
Warlord stream on Twitch Monday at 8 o'clock. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Monday 8 o'clock.
I think it was 6 o'clock. Isn't it 6 o'clock? I think they do it.
Competitive.
I know it's Monday night. The last time I checked, it was like 8 o'clock then.
I think that one got delayed.
It's taking our slot.
Yeah. Gits.
Yeah, but they only get 5 viewers. We get 25.
Yeah.
I think I'm talking about games rooms and things like that. Did anybody see Fraser's setup?
Oh,
Kettering.
Yeah.
If you didn't get moisture in your knickers for that one, I think you're not a wargamer. Jesus Christ. Lucky
his Wargames room is bigger than my flat.
Bloody hell.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
I know, I was like,
Just thought that was just the most awesome place. And he's even put a toilet in there and a...
Yeah, I love that. That was my favourite thing about it.
I just thought that is just such a perfect setup,
I was like, I showed Laura, right? I said to Laura, because I said, Laura, this is going in our garden when we buy a house. This is part of the TNCs. And she was like, she literally looked at me. She goes, "How are you going to do that?" I said, "I'm going to build it." I said, "It's going to be great." And I goes, "Then you'll never have to worry about me being in here and taking up room with plastic." She went, "Yes, that's fine."
In fact, you never have to worry about me being in the house ever again.
Yeah, I said, you won't ever have me annoying you. We'll have an intercom set up so you can just push the button and go, do you want to come in now and watch some telly? It'll be great. And I'll just think about it. If I really piss you off, you can send me out there at night. Literally in the Wargame shed.
Oh my god.
The Battle Knights has just come up with an interesting question. I know we haven't got long, but we did start late, so we'll probably have to run a little bit later. And he's asking, what do we think about Patreon in regard to channels? I guess, so just to sort of fill in a bit on that. So I was having a discussion with Peter Little a couple of weeks ago now, maybe even a month or two ago, because he is actually a patron of mine. He's the only one I've got, and not that I make a big push on it, so it's hardly surprising. But we were talking about what could you do? Is it right to do something that's Patreon only, or just for the subs? And I was thinking, kind of, what can you actually do? Because I used to be a patron of table, or whatever the Norwegian guys were.
Yeah,
I kind of like what they did. And I know some channels do a sort of pre stuff for their broadcast, don't they? So they're like, you see stuff that other subscribers can't see. Yeah. What do you reckon of a Patreon? What would you do? What would you accept?
The only channel I've ever been a patron was like you done with the guys from Tabletop Battle, but I've not I had to come off there for financial reasons. But it was what they used to do was they had the when they played games of ball action, you if it was your turn, you got a unit named after you, so your name was used to command that unit. It was a good little system. I don't know. I for a channel like mine, there would be no need for a Patreon, because I don't have any kind of multi-levels to my channel. I just put a lot of bolt action stuff on. So I don't know what I'd actually put on. Whether it be sneak previews of Germans. I mean,
they're gonna get Germans.
But
Yeah.
this was the thing that Peter talked about was, he was saying, well, he said, I'm not going to say, I'm going to embarrass him by saying how much, but it's not an awful lot of money in terms of, great scheme of things, but it's very generous of him to do it. And he said, I'd be quite happy to pay more if we did something like once a month had, an half an hour on a Zoom call with you to talk about history, about wargaming or what have you. And I thought, well, does anyone really want to spend that, do that kind of thing just to get access to me when they can do it any other way? But it's that kind of thing. Is there something that you would? I don't know. And I was thinking, well, so what have I seen that other people do that would be interesting?
Yeah, it's like that half an hour a week thing you got, right? That you were just saying. Then it's like I've got Patreon. I've got one Patreon, and he's been doing it for like 10, 11 months now. Craig, he's been there. He's pays $4 a month. But I don't do anything special for it. It's just a tip thing for me. If you want to contribute, people feel free. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I just put it there as like a little tip jar. And that's how I treat it. But if someone ever wants to talk to me, all they've got to do is send me a message on Facebook or something. Did you get any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just send me a message on Facebook or through the Miniature Wargaming Warriors group or or on like Discord or something occasionally when I pop on there. But the best way to get hold of me is through the Facebook group. That's the best way. But no, like I say, mine's just a tip.
I'm not raising this. I'm not discussing this at all as a way of actually getting Patreon. So if anyone thinks that, don't think that. It's not at all.
No.
It interested me that actually would. I genuinely thought, well, actually, I'd love to do something that was interesting if people wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit struggling to think about what.
Yeah.
Like you say, I kind of did it, Ken, just as much as anything else was just, if anybody wanted to chuck me a few quid to say thank you or what have you, then fabulous, brilliant. But it's no pressure. Nobody's forced to do it. I'm not here to make money out of this. Hobby, it's fun. Is there something that we could actually do? I don't know, that would feed back. Maybe there isn't. But I saw Jason obviously thinking a similar kind of thing because he just asked that. What do you think about it?
It's like with this. It's like we do this podcast, isn't it? If we've been doing it a while now, like 40 weeks, and I guess you could use like some of the Patreon money if we did like a Patreon thing to buy us all new equipment. Like everyone gets the same set of microphones, just to improve the quality of the stream. Do you know what I mean? Just little things like that. You might be, so it's just a little bit more professional because some people might, listen to us now, but then you've got, some people that get put off by certain sound quality and things like that, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. They've got to hear. Miller has said, "Can they pay you in plastic, Ken?" They're all having a bit of a laugh about that now in the comments.
Pay me in plastic if you want to pay me in plastic.
Yeah. That's it. And then Brush and Quill said some channels are set up to serve their patrons and they let them choose the next project. That would I don't know if I could do that.
No, I couldn't do that because if it's something I really didn't want to do, then it wouldn't get the attention or effort it deserves. Like I say, this isn't a job for me. It's just a hobby at the end of the day. Just here to have some fun and play some games. You guys are just along for the journey. It's lovely to have you here. It's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think Peter's saying he's only doing because I need to feed my family. That's true. Actually, they've all left home, so it's all good.
They're gone now, Dom, are they?
Depends why you're doing this. No, not completely. Phil's about to. She should be gone soon.
Oh, right.
Hopefully. No, her and a boyfriend have got a house. They're just waiting for the completion date to move in. So then I'll just have little Imogen here until she goes back to university. Becomes a super spreader there because that's what students are apparently. That's all good. So I don't know really. It's just a weird thing. It's I don't know.
I kind of love to explore it. I'd love to have the time. I guess that's one of the things I think most about. It's just have it. We say Peter and I talked about this. I don't know. Must have been a couple of months ago at least. And I said to, and he was saying about various things, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking part of it's just having the time to set it up, and then thinking, I just as well just giving somebody my mobile number and just saying, well, if you're Patreon, give me a call. And then, but then I don't want calls all day long. But because then I have work to do and I have family life. It's not a job. So I don't know.
That's what I was saying about the messaging thing on Facebook. I don't mind a correspondence through Messenger, or if someone really wants to talk to me now, I'm sure we can arrange that sort of thing. It's not a problem. I don't mind spending some time talking to somebody about the hobby.
Brush and Quill just asked if anyone comments on Steve's stream. He's not streaming it.
Steve is not streaming.
No, I don't. It would completely kill my laptop, so I don't bother.
And your guys all love bolt action, don't they, Steve? They are bolt action nuts.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I the last video I put on, I added it to a playlist. I've got 100 videos all about bolt action on my channel. Out of about 175 videos, 100 of them are bolt action related.
There you go.
Oh my god! So, Steve, I want to ask you a question, mate, because you're an expert on this whole business. So I'm in the process of trying to recycle some figures that I'm retrieving from my garage of shame. I know you did Frenchies recently and redid all them. So
yes,
most of the figures I'm looking at just need a bit of touching up and improving. How did you just paint straight on top what was there, or did you start again
with my French? No, with my French, it was just getting sort of the original colours and going back over them, doing a bit more highlighting. I actually changed a bit of the colour scheme for my French, so I'm trying to think what I changed the colour of the weapons. So I use I use saddle brown for all brown bits on them. I used a better flesh colour. I rewashed them as well. So I gave them another coat of Agrax. It was quite labour intensive, but it was worth it because I didn't like the first sort of incarnation of them. They're all over the place. What I've got now is a completely uniform project. I don't like stripping figures, so that was never an option. I was always going to paint over paint. Thankfully, they weren't too blobby.
Yeah, I mean so I'm not sure. So basically, I was hunting through my boxes and my cases, and I found a whole load of look like Norman figures, Norman cavalry figures, and they're actually pretty nice. I think they're Crusaders or something like that. They're really quite nice figures. But I don't know how I painted them because it's so long ago. I mean, there must be 15 years ago, something like that. Probably I painted them, and it's kind of. I've tried with one of them, and it came out all right. I mean, the simple thing is they need rebasing because the bases are bloody awful. So that improves the figure no end just doing that. But then a couple of them, this figure I just basically did exactly what you say. I just touched up a little bit the skin tone, painted over the helmet, I think, and just put a bit of colour on that. A bit of contrast paint wash over the horse itself because it's a mounted figure, and used some washes, and it did bring it up really nicely, I have to say. But I didn't know whether I've got a load more to do basically, and I'm just looking and thinking, is that going to work with all? I think it probably will.
Do you know what I do with mine, Don?
What's that like?
Oh, sorry, mate. I was gonna say.
No, go on. No.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say when I stripped some of mine, I didn't strip them completely. So if I did thick paint, I just basically dumped them in isopropanol for about a minute and a half, just enough to get the paint agitated. So what it does is it takes off the thick layers of the original paint. So you still got the colours there, yeah. And then I can just scrub it, so it won't come off completely, but it will just thin the paint down completely. So what you can do then is you can just reapply a spray straight over once they're dry, and then you can just crack on and do it that way, or you can just paint straight over it because the primer's still there, but only for about a minute. It just strips off the excess paint that's really thick.
So, okay, so given the fact you don't varnish your figures,
yep,
is that going to be a problem? Because I varnish mine. Is that going to be difficult?
Yeah.
Though,
I'll be honest with you. I've never isopropyl is your best bet, but I've never stripped a varnished figure. I don't think so. So you'd have to give that.
I don't think you'd have a problem. If they've used a spray varnish and it won't go on thick enough to cause too much of a problem.
Should be all right then.
I mean, I don't intend to strip any of them, I have to say, because it's just too much effort, frankly. I just tested this one figure, and he's quite a nice figure. I think he's a gripping beast one, I think. And he's just a general on horseback. And actually, just the little bit I did, I was thinking about Steve all the time. He just touched up all his. Sorry, it's going to sound really wrong. He just touched up all his. So far, I've talked about Ken stripping and Steve's touching up. What I'm going to talk about Martin in a minute.
That video ain't getting monetised, Dom. Whatever you do. Jesus.
But yeah, it did seem to make a big difference. Just that little bit of work on it. So I'm gonna have a go on the other ones and see what comes out. Because suddenly I've got another 12, 13. Normans suddenly ready done, and they're quite nice figures. They're very chunky, but they're nice figures. How good they were.
On the stream tonight, I've managed to paint or repaint a spot. Because I'm repainting my British, a spotter, a forward observer, an officer, a medic, and the officer's assistant. Just basically just using the uniform, green, flesh, and brown, and khaki. So 5 colours, and they're completely repainted.
Nice.
And they look really nice. I'm quite chuffed with that. I think three layers of highlights on the stretcher. That was a bit much.
Just for Dom, Beeley Wood has just said he's just stripped 12 cavalry that were varnished, and he hasn't had a problem.
Okay, good to know. So I don't intend to do it unless they are really, really awful when I've done a little bit playing with them. But I don't think they will. But it's just interesting to know.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I've just used the weirdest combination of paints to undercoat these, or to prime these sci-fi kit bashes. It was a mix of blue, grey, pale, and dark black, green SS.
That is a bit of a strange. That is a bit of a strange. It looks really nice. It's different, Brian.
If you can see the colour, it's got like a bluey greeny colour. Because what I'm doing, I'm planning to put Luftwaffe blue at the top of them.
That's a nice blue.
Have like a nice blue uniform.
That is nice. Yeah. That is a nice.
So that's going to go well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do them black or I don't use black undercuts anyway. The brown, I didn't want to use brown or green, but it's kind of a nice kind of pale sea green colour. So I'm going to see how that works tomorrow. But yeah, very strange colour combination.
I can't believe how many French I've built. Building them. Still a load to build, but I'm going to build all these in this box set, and I'm going to batch paint all of them at the same time.
I've just painted the most convoluted livery badge and all of these things, and I thought some of the other ones I'd done are hard, and I've been trying to work out what the livery badge for these guys was. I actually got in touch with some people who know more about the subject than me, and when they told me what it was, I was like, oh, that sounds easy, and then I actually looked at it, and
no.
And it's not.
No, I'd rather paint like a dragon or
really,
something.
Really keen to get and do a War of the Roses army, proper one, and do it as a faction and what have you. But that really does put me off the whole heraldry thing. It's just like,
it's fine if you pick someone like Warwick. It's just a white, basically it's a log. It's a staff, a ragged staff. So it's just a white line like that, with a few bits sticking off of it. If you can just get some nice geometric ones, the White Rose of York is quite easy to do as well. It's just lots of dots if you do it that way. But I'll send you guys a picture of the one I've done for my little video, and that nearly gave me an aneurysm yesterday doing that. The worst one, the problem is actually the worst one. Let me just find it. Is I've said I want to do the Earl of Warwick, so all of his troops wore red, and they've got the basic livery device on them. But a mistake that a lot of people I think fall into is that isn't what the Lord wore. He had his own personal coat of arms. Yeah. And Warwick's is 1 second.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? His coat of arms. I see it. His castle. So Martin's disappeared off stream.
Just turn it off now.
There, no, this is dad.
That's his dad.
Lupus says he's repainting old IG egg walkers at the minute.
Oh, nice.
What do you have?
That is old school, isn't it? I think
That's a Rogue Trader vehicle. I can remember what they look. I had 2 of them.
Here you go. Check this out then. So that is his personal coat of arms. Half of that.
Enjoy that.
That is what will be painted on his tabard.
Ow.
Enjoy that, mine.
Ow.
So these ones I've done, but you see they're quite easy because they're geometric and you can just sort of get away with them. That.
Good luck, mate.
It's a challenge. I'm gonna do it. I've now got about 50 livery flag pages over the floor now.
I don't know. That really does put me off because I fancy doing it, but I just think I might actually get somebody to commission somebody to do them for me.
Yeah.
Because I just think I can't.
Just pick someone with a really easy livery. That's the trick. There are a few. There's quite a few.
No, there's a couple of factions I quite fancy doing, so I'm just maybe I'll just do it that way.
If you want to see the liveries, go on that tabletop simulator and do the War of the Roses one, Dom. Click on it and it's got them all on there. You can see them all nicely all together.
I've got some books of heraldry ones somewhere that I will refer to, but I think it's more a question. I'll probably do. I forget which one it was now, but when I was over the North Somerset border area earlier this year, there were a couple of places that I thought, that'd be great to do a faction from here because I just love the location. So that's kind of what I got in mind. So it will be a particular, and I think the one I had in mind, I can't remember who it is now, but it was actually not too bad. So I don't know. We'll have a go.
Awesome.
So we've lost Leslie and Paul have both gone to bed. Not together, obviously.
Dom, you're on a roll tonight. You really are.
What tier are they in?
I'm not even been drinking tonight either. It's just
it's weird for me because I had today off from work, so it's weird. It's a Monday night because it nearly happened again. I nearly forgot we were going live because I was at home thinking it was Sunday again, but it's not. It's Monday night. But so what are we doing then? Yeah. I was going to say, so what's the plan towards streaming over Christmas time then? Because we haven't discussed this really yet. Are you guys going to continue or do you want 1 week off?
I can't remember what days it falls on.
It's like the 20 Friday. Christmas is the Friday, so it's a bank holiday Monday.
I'm not sure. Maybe having a week off might be cool, and then we can. I don't know.
And we can come back with the new Plastic Crack podcast for the next year, because there will be interesting things afoot.
So the last one would be on the 21st.
21st, and then we reconvene the first Monday of the new year. What does everyone think of that?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yes. Plan?
Yeah.
Can do that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I just thought give people some notice so they don't know we just haven't turned up. But yeah, no, wicked. No, that's cool. We'll just so you guys know ahead of time. Hopefully you're
Cool.
not all killing us in the comments. Go on.
Oh no, it means we've got two more.
Two more for this year.
Two more, and we're doing our just to confirm the little Christmas Santa thing. We're not doing that on the stream. We're making a video and then tagging the person in it and then releasing it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, we're tagging all 4 videos in it on Christmas Day, basically. So we'll tag all 4. So we'll link it in.
Okay. Well, that's if my order actually arrives.
Yours is there, Dom. Look, you can just see one little bit of the model.
Ken's is in many pieces right now. Partly in the oven as well, I'll add.
Is that a tree?
That's intriguing.
Is it a tree?
Yeah, the tree. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. What do you use for your trees? Is it just sticks from outside?
What on my bases?
Yeah.
So we've got this interesting. I don't know what kind of plant it is. I have to ask my mother. She knows all about that. And when it dries, it looks really really good as trees. And if you just put a wash over it, it looks really good.
You don't mind sending me some of that in the post along with the.
Yeah. Well, another quick trick is if you have a blender and your wife or significant other is not around. Is to get a bunch of branches and put them in the blender, and then you get these awesome burst bits of wood that you can chuck on bases. But the best thing is at the bottom you get this kind of mulch that you can then just scatter in the PVA glue around them.
I think my significant other would not be best
real
pleased.
Branches, though, I would suggest. Not real branches. Just not real branches. Visions of Ken going out and getting a 6-foot trunk and shoving it in.
Oh no! I just snap them. No, I snap them off of whatever's kicking around outside, or I find on site if I think it looks. If it looks, there you go. There's some that I haven't used. They're about this long. Hang on. There you go. About that long.
Right.
These trees is just coming. I'll chuck those in. Stick them on bases. Yeah.
Chuck them in the oven to kill off the bacteria. That's the only thing you got to do.
I haven't done that with yours. I'm not clean. I'm not doing that. I like organic basing materials.
Burn the house down like I nearly did.
Just to warn you, don't ever put if you're trying to dry out some ballast because you need sand ASAP. Don't ever put it in the oven and then take it out and touch it.
I wouldn't do that.
That is, it's quite warm. Yes.
Yeah. Why on earth would you think that wouldn't be hot?
I don't know.
See, Martin, you say that. I did that. Do you know those little the little really small frying pans you can get for doing like veg?
Yeah.
I don't know why I did it, but I was heating. I went, "Ooh, I wonder if that's heated yet," and put my fingertips directly on top of a frying pan.
Oh no.
We just have a momentary lapse.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be. I'd literally only had it off about 10 seconds. I thought it can't be that hot already. Touched it and bloody hell, it was hot.
I bet the words you said were very hot as well.
Yeah, it was colourful, but yeah, it certainly taught me a lesson.
Oh dear. I'll tell you what. So, what have we got done tonight then, guys? We'll wrap this up, can't we? What about yourself, Mike?
I finished.
Or Steve? Go on.
Because I finished the 5 Brits that I was planning. They're all done. So all I've got left now for my new British project, or old British project, is one section of plastic infantry, and that's a 1,500 point army done, and I'm looking forward to it.
Nice one, mate. Mine?
I've basically finished 15 Billmen and Men at Arms for the Wars of the Roses. Just got a couple of weapons to finish, so I've already done the Lord for the unit, and so they'll be getting based for my video, which will be out later in the week, hopefully. So yeah, quite a lot done.
Happy days. Dom?
I have put together about 25 Norman infantry. So they will be fixed up and spray painted. Will be tomorrow.
Nice.
and I can get painting them.
Awesome.
You.
I've made up 32 out of my 144 late French. In great, I've still got a ways to go, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow as well. Is just sitting here with my clippers, getting them all done, pulled out. Because I'm going to do what you said, Martin. I think to speed up time, instead of painting every single one with a different color coat, go for a grey, and then just stick a different level of wash maybe over them to give a different grey effect. And just
just pick out the odd one as brown or something like that, and then you're sorted.
I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to give that a go to try and speed up a bit of painting, maybe see how that goes for a few battalions. But I have got a light battalion I've got to do. So, and I'm going to betray GMB flags because I'm going to use the Warlords only flags in here. I think so. I'm going to try out their flags, have a mixture.
No. How did you do that? You'll
will I regret it? Will I regret it?
I predict that no, because I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I don't. It's just I think GMB they're just a higher quality flag. They are, because you're paying sort of a premium amount. But I think you'll put them on, you'll look at them, and then I bet you go back and get the GMB ones and take the other ones off.
Right, I'm not going to do that then. I'll just get the GMB then.
Because what will happen is, because I know that you say you like these uniforms, you'll rank them up next to your other ones.
Yes, and it will drive.
And while people might not care, you'll know.
Oh, yeah.
And okay. I will point it out all the time.
Okay, well. I'm gonna have to go on GMB in a minute then. Lovely. Well, there you go.
And on that bombshell,
yeah, it's see you later, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again very soon. And shit, I just broke a musket.
See you later.
Bye for now.
See you later. Bye.
I cannot turn it off. There it goes. See you later.